The beginning of 2023 was like the Sahara Desert because it was so dry, at least for the music industry. And that's not to say that there were no good albums, there were still some really good ones that kind of came around here and there, but for the most part, it was just very, very slow. And then Utopia dropped, and it saved music. In reality though, I do think Travis Scott dropping created some sort of signal to every other major artist in the world. Because we went from nearly nothing to suddenly, what the fuck? Even Sampha dropped. Like, I don't know, man, that's kind of crazy. Even Frank Ocean's teasing music.
Trying to see all your sides, and your heart's been tangled in barbed wires. You can hand it to me, I can handle it.
But despite every single thing that has released recently, there is one that has stood above them all. Jane Remover is very cool. I know. I've been following Jane Remover for about a year now. I went through a mini hyperpop phase. Don't hate me, man. I don't know. But as I listened to more and more hyperpop, I kind of felt like everything was the same. There wasn't really a lot of substance to a lot of these songs, and I just kind of found myself drifting away from the genre. But then, on a quiet day in January or December, I actually can't remember, I discovered Frailty by Jane Remover. Now, this album isn't actually really technically hyperpop. It's more glitch pop, but I'm just gonna kind of merge them together for the sake of this video and to make a point. Now, Frailty is very unique. I don't think there are many albums that actually sound anything like it. For some reason, the consensus when speaking about Frailty is that the album feels like a magic. I don't know why. It's weird, but I agree with it. The album is constantly throwing new shit at you, like all the time. And admittedly, some things work better than others. But the one consensus I got from it was that it was a unique spin on the genre and I really enjoyed it. And it got me thinking, hey, this Jane Remover person? Pretty cool. And I was excited to see what she'd cook next and if she would continue to build on her foundation. And then so behold. Wow, Cowabunga. It's always very fun when an artist that used to do one genre moves to like a completely different one. And it's even more fun when they kind of slay. It's always interesting because most of the times where this happens, it's because of one specific aspect from their previous album that they kind of liked, and then they kind of go, okay, I'm just gonna do that, but like times infinity. And then I just imagine Jane Remover whips out a guitar and goes crazy. Because in the case of Jane Remover, she went from hyperpop / glitch pop to suddenly shoegaze or experimental rock. And the shift in tone that came alongside this is kind of hilarious as well. Now, the one scary thing about doing this is that for an artist, by going into a completely different direction, you're going to alienate a part of your audience. And in the case of Jane Remover, this has kind of happened to be the case. Some people just prefer the more dreamy, hyperpop, glitchy vibe that Frailty provides. And that's okay. Me personally though, I take after a wise person called Barney Stinson.
But new is always better is my oldest rule, which makes it the best.
New is always better, and Census Designated is better. Also, sorry if I sound like shit, I'm kinda sick, so my voice is kinda dying, and so am I actually. Census Designated tells a really depressing story that, I can't lie, I don't fully understand, not yet at least. Jane's community is a lot smaller than the other communities of artists that I've covered in the past, so I have less sources to kind of work with when trying to decipher the actual context of the songs. So in this video, I'm mainly going to be going over my personal understanding of it and also a bit of Wikipedia. But apparently the inspiration for this album came from a near-death experience during a road trip in Oregon, and this essentially served as a reality check. The album also clearly goes over some form of sexual relationship with a guy that seems pretty abusive and clearly doesn't go very well. On the song Video, it's revealed that she met this guy online before eventually meeting him in person, but all he does is that he ends up taking advantage of her. And then towards the end of the album, it's kind of found out that like this guy is dead and like his corpse is just rotting in Oregon. I may have skipped a few chapters. The truth is that there are a lot of layers to this story, and I don't think me in this video can do it justice. The best way for you to experience it is just by listening to the album over and over again and then probably crafting your own interpretation of it. The one thing that's very easy to understand though is the very drastic shift in tone. As I've already established at the start of the video, we go from Frailty, which is kind of happy-go-lucky, to suddenly a very emo, dark, grimy sound. It's very clear that there was a lot of baggage attached to this album, and the way I see it, Jane just wanted to vent for 60 minutes and scream into a microphone, and I think that shows a lot of maturity, and it shows like a lot of growth as a person, and that you want to move on and maybe you want to do something a bit more dark, and that's completely okay. Personally, I think Jane Remover was built for shoegaze. She was built for the rock genre. She kind of kills it. For some reason, and I can't really put my finger on it, but this album scratches an itch that I didn't know I had, and I think it's cool because she's kind of paving her own lane here. Can't really think of many artists that are doing the same thing that Jane's doing, and that's a really unique and special thing to have as an artist. I mean, I could talk about the Dead Air label as a whole, which they're kind of killing it. Okay, I'm gonna talk about them real quick. Dead Air have been going nuclear in this final stretch of 2023. They got the Jane Remover album. They got the Quanic album, which I actually haven't heard, but a lot of people are saying it's really good. And then you have Quadeca, who's going on a crazy run of singles right now. I don't want to be corny or cheesy when I say this, but I think Dead Air are the future. I think they are paving a really cool path as a unique label, and that's great to see. Going back to Jane Remover a little bit, I think Census Designated might be my favorite album of this year. Now I know the year isn't finished yet. Santa still hasn't done his yearly tour. Although if Santa wants to give us one last gift, I would like this one pretty please. But it's definitely in my top 5, and then with a bit of time, I think I'll probably have it at number 1. This album just has banger after banger after banger, and some people don't see the vision. That's cool. I do. I see the vision. Jane, you are my queen. And once again, I'm pretty excited to see where Jane goes next, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of baggage attached to this album, but now that baggage is kind of dealt with, and I guess you could say she's freed from her chains a bit, I wonder if she'll go in a different direction once again on her next album. Maybe she'll go back to her glitch pop roots, maybe she'll go more into shoegaze, or maybe she'll just make a fucking, I don't know, jazz record. But overall, I think Jane has proven to be a very versatile artist. Now, I don't think it's all perfect. I think there's a bit of fine-tuning to do here and there. However, I'm not going to mention that because this doesn't fit my narrative of Jane having the best album of this year. If she continues to stay in the post-rock genre or the shoegaze genre, I hope that when she does come back, it'll be even bigger and even grander and even crazier than before. But it's been fun seeing her Spotify listeners go up. I also think she had a really good feature on the Underscores album. In fact, I think that was the best song on the album. If Jane can continue to branch out and do features and collaborate with other artists, maybe from different genres, and kind of put them on, that would be pretty cool. I'm basically just asking for a Quadeca collab. Also, a friend of the channel, Say, asked to be in the video. I don't know if you guys remember Say. He's been here sometime. I asked him to do something interesting, so he said he was gonna tell me a joke, and he just sent me a pic of my channel.